Alright, Paris from Epic Tech Reviews here, holding on to my GeForce GTX 660 just out of the box. Going to install it into the system, from which I just removed my older card, my GTS 450, and lining them up here in the front. Look how much longer that is, yikes. This one was pretty big for the slot, so I'm going to see whether this one actually fits in. Okay, so installing the video card in the computer, you want to make sure the computer is off and unplugged. You want to make sure if there's a light on the motherboard showing there's still power to it, that it's gone off. Before touching any of the electrical components, you want to touch parts of the case that aren't painted, something that's just plain metal, so you make sure you don't have a static charge that you might burn something out by getting your finger near a contact either on the motherboard or on the card. Okay, you got your card, you see where your ports are going to go, you see the portion with the gold contacts. That's going to fit into the slot right here. This little piece on the end, once you've got this seated properly and start screwing it in, you can slide this up and it should snap into place, and that hooks on here and holds the card in. So this is fairly heavy. This thing, I would say almost a couple pounds anyway. It you don't want it falling out and especially rattling around in the case, breaking things. So that little plastic clip holds it in. So we've got it all set to go, and my concern is over here whether it may actually have a problem with a couple of these guys. But let's see. Sliding it in, moving these cables out of the way. Goodness, this thing's big. All right, there's one and two. Whew. All right, we're about in position here. I'm lining it up over the slot, but it's got to slide out a little more here. Lining up the DVI ports. Okay, it's good there. It is over the slot, and I'm seeing what's catching on the end of anything. Oh, it's going to sit right on top of these SATA ports, but on top is okay. Let's hope it slides down in. Here we go. It is in. Let me throw that little plastic piece down there. Oh, it went up on its own and it's clipped in and it's holding onto the system. So I've got to put a couple screws in here to hold the card in place. This card does take up two slots, mainly for cooling purposes. The shroud over it ideally takes the air that gets pulled in and blown over the GPU and it's a heat sink and the other circuitry, and then directs that right out the back of the case so you don't have the hot air blowing into the computer, raising the temperature and making it so that you have really hot air then that you're trying to cool your CPU down with. Two screws to hold it in because it takes up those two spots in the case. And we need to add power here. My cable management leaves a lot to be desired, but I do have just what I need here. Make sure the dust is off of that. Line it up, insert till it clicks. There we go. That provides the power. I'll turn it around here and show you the back of it. Okay. So we've got our DVI ports, we've got an HDMI, and we've got these openings here, the vents, so that hot air again after being pulled over the GPU heatsink can blow right out the back of the case. Time to go plug it in and see what kind of frame rates I'm going to get in StarCraft 2.